Hello, everybody. This is Talkative Carl back again for another versus discussion. Something I haven't done in like quite a few months. I think the last time was in October when I did that long video, longer than I thought it would take, with the Winchester brothers versus the Hollowell sisters from Charm. I'm gonna do something a little bit different here, where I'm gonna do like a more display kind of thing, so you guys can see what I'm doing rather than just watching me just looking at a computer. Thought this might be easier going forward whenever I do something like this. So I thought it would be interesting, as like a happy International Women's Day, is doing a couple of versus ones. Videos. One right now I'm doing is Zatanna from DC Comics versus Wanda Maximoff versus aka Scarlet Witch. So I'm gonna go down not like the complete history, but just like a good summary here and there, then like their powers and weaknesses, and then I'm going to like just gauge from those two things and see like who will feasibly will beat the other in my estimation. This is not a fan little who I like more kind of situation. This is like something like I want to like really sink my teeth into, chew it to the bone, and see like, okay, who would I see actually win out on top. So we'll start off with Zatanna. And of course we got like the the time of her creation and up to 2011, and then like we're gonna cover like the soft rebooted situation from 2011 into right now, so we can make it all fair, because the 2011 up until now is relatively short. It wouldn't be fair to Zatanna. All right. Her famous quote, apparently, Zatanna Zatanna. Hey, pay attention to me. I'm fascinating. Apparently she's from like a Homo Magi. It's pretty much like a kind of like a species of human that can practice magic. Obviously, Homo, like daughter of John Zatanna. Okay, looks like Zatanna is daughter of the magician Giovanni John Zatanna and Cinderella. Sound like Cinderella mixed with Sindel. Let me see who's like Cinderella. Wow. From Turkey. Yes, he looks like very old world magic. Why'd you go all the way down there? Okay, looks like obviously raised by a father. Zatanna was raised by a father in a small house in New York near the infamous Arkham Asylum. Mother seemingly died at birth, at her childbirth, but she eventually learned that Cinderella faked her death to return to her people. Zatanna is a direct descendant of the artist and magician Leonardo da Vinci, and is related to Nostradamus, Alessandro Cagliostro, the noted alchemist, Nicholas Flamel, and Ivan Fulcinelli, and Lord Arion of Atlantis. Her cousin, Zachary Zatanna, is also a magician. Zatanna became a successful stage illusionist before she discovered her true magical powers while investigating the disappearance of her father. On her quest, she asked help of various heroes, including Hawkman and Hawkgirl, Atom, Green Lantern, and Elongated Man. Eventually, Zatanna located her father in the world of Karma, where she traveled to to alongside magical duplicates of the heroes she met in her journey, and was finally reunited with her father, who was forced to stay away from her due to a spell from the evil sorceress Allura. Zatanna then continued her career as a stage magician, and not much later she met other notable heroes such as The Flash, Supergirl, and Green Arrow. As she pursued her stage career, she hired Jeff Sloan, an agent who would soon become a very close friend, going on various adventures with her. Shortly after finding Jeff, Allura attacked them by possessing Zatanna. Zatanna and Jeff had to overcome several obstacles on other dimensions until they returned to Earth and defeated Allura for good. For a while, Zatanna continued her career as a stage magician and also assisted people in need with her powers. Zatanna assisted the Justice League of America on a number of cases before being elected to a full membership. As she was recruited into the Justice League, Zatanna changed her regular stage outfit to combat costume, also changing her alias from Zatanna the Magician to Zatanna the Sorceress. Okay, we'll see, we'll learn some elemental magic. I need to do a comic book review for Zatanna. I love Zatanna. I loved it when they included her into the the first Injustice game, because she was fun to use, even though she wasn't that, effective online, matches or anything like that, unless you really work your fingers to the bone just to get her combos right. But she was just a fun casual play. Okay. She went through a lot of stressful situations, lost her magic. Of course, she's been through all those crises. Of course, he's got a long friendship with Batman, and then she was part of that whole situation where some of the just some of the at least not some a few of the Justice League members who was messing with a lot of villains' minds that Batman found out, and then she allowed them had temporary his mind to make him forget, which kind of really deteriorated their friendship for a while. They helped stop the Joker. Heart of Hush and Seven Soldiers. One of those met Catwoman. She's done quite a bit of stuff in Gotham City, but she usually travels. So okay, before we get to the powers and abilities, looks like LC went to. Go with the current now. Moving from 2011 to now, there's a soft reboot where she's had relationship with like this mage Nick Necros, and then they met up with John Constantine. They had like and then they fell in love with each other, but that eventually deteriorated because John's relationships always deteriorate eventually. See, is the founding member of the Justice League Dark, obviously. It's a lot of, people she defeated, like, very powerful supernatural threats. Looks like she dealt with like a death of magic situation. Scarlet Witch, in a way, assisted Doctor Strange with a similar situation with the death of magic, which if you watch my first comic book review of Doctor Strange and the Last Days of Magic, you'll know what that was. Trinity War. The Witching Hour. That is a great Justice League Dark event, the Witching Hour, where they, with the Justice League Dark, with Wonder Woman help stop this sorceress Hecate and the Upside Down Man. This creepy looking dude. Yeah, the Upside Down Man. You want to see what this dude look like? Look how freaky this guy is. The other kind. It's like all dark and comes from like a being. This is like reflections of all dark and twisted possibilities of magic. Like the Upside Down Man was formed when creation gave birth to magic. The magic in its raw form eventually turned into a bright light that formed Hecate, the first magical being. As she was formed from the light, the Upside Down Man was formed from the darkness in the other place. Frightened by his presence, Hecate created a barrier to hide the Upside Down Man away, not wanting her beautiful realm to be tainted by his horror. Yeah, so this dude is freaky looking. That was honestly a great design of like a magical bad guy. Obviously about a doomsday clock. Okay, yeah. So she did some fair bit of stuff. Gotta love that picture. She, she got one of the most iconic looks in comic book history, honestly. Powers and abilities. Okay. Zatanna is a homo magi, a human born with the affinity to manipulate magic. Her unique genetic structure allows her to use the magic she was born with, as well as learn magic. As a tribute to her father, and as a focus for her spells, she casts spells by speaking backwards, or logomancy. For example, saying pots will cause the target of the spell to stop in their tracks, because pots backwards is stop. She's feared and famed as one of the most powerful magic users on the planet and mortal plane. It's got elemental control, obviously manipulate fire, ice, lightning, water, rock, air, light, and shadows. It's got telekinesis, telepathy, teleportation, dimensional travel, reality alteration, antipathy. And what's that mean? Zatanna can reverse physical trauma, so all damage that comes to her will hit her target instead, which is very unique. Did not know that was an actual ability. Deflection. Zatanna can return energy projections sent to her back to their source without loss of momentum or power. Chronokinesis will move time backwards or forwards. Weather manipulation. Don't know about the. Well, it's not like Storm from the X-Men. It's just like in a certain area. Probably not on like a crazy scale. Well, maybe. Well, this is magic, so maybe on like probably on the same scale, but it's probably depending on how much magic is being poured into making a weather manipulation. Eldritch blast. Zatanna can blast enemies with mystical energy. Energy construct creation. Energy transference, flight. Force field healing. Zatanna can heal herself or whoever she chooses from most injuries. Phasing, size alteration, transformation. Other abilities: prestidigitation, skilled as illusionist. Hypnosis, meditation, astral projection, hand-to-hand combat, advance. Zatanna has received extensive training from her time with the Justice League and from her father, who always told her to rely on her wits as well as her fists should her magic fail. So I imagine she would have been taught by Batman if she was taught by, and Wonder Woman if she was taught with the Justice League, two of the most best fighters there. Occultism, as a chronicler of magic, she possesses an extensive understanding of occult lore due to her mystic background. Multilingualism. Weaknesses. Mnemonic incantation. Zatanna casts her spells by saying the words of her incantations backwards. Mnemonic incantation is the most complicated of the mystic arts. On one occasion, the assassin Deathstroke delivered a direct blow to her liver, initiating a regurgitation reaction. On a separate occasion, the Joker, disguised as the stage magician Luxius, shot Zatanna in the neck, rendering her magic useless. She must be able to speak or read backwards in order for her to focus her spells. And every time I seen Zatanna, that's like the most signature way people were able to render her incapacitate her in some fashion, because if you cut off her access to speak, it's kind of like Harry Potter with the magic wands. It helps them focus that those magic powers into like a fixed point. And without it, she's kind of like as it states, like, she can fight when her magic remains useless, but like if somebody like get her in the throat, cry chop in her throat, then she's like kind of like immobilized for the most part. Or if she's bound from head to toe, then it's like she can't do much. Vulnerability to magic. Powerful enchantments against beings of magic like gods are able to restrict her as well, preventing her from accessing enchanted places or dispel the adverse charm. Harmful magical realms such as hell can also render her often hinder her often, how often she can speak her spells and can cause her great physical damage. Formerly a fear of, pupophobia, a fear of puppets, but that's been since dealt with. Equipment, magic wand. Usually she is often seen with a magic wand, although whether it is a stage prop or an actual focus for her power remains unknown. She does not need it though, considering her recent appearances without one and being able to cast spells effectively. And the magician's hat. She can project energies or objects out from her hat, or even take out any equipment she needs. The hat can also be used as a portal or a dungeon to capture and trap her target in it for as long as she wants. It is also unknown if it's just a stage prop or a focus for her power, and just like her wand, she does not need it in order to use her magical powers. I'm saying trivias here. Zatanna's nickname includes the Mistress of Magic, Princess of Prestidigitation, Zanna, Zanny, and Magic Maid. Zatanna owns a mansion also called Shadowcrest, in which she keeps a vast library of magical knowledge, as well as an arsenal of powerful relics, enough to do just about anything you want to do. Shadowcrest seems to exist in a completely different dimension, although it is initially located outside of Gotham. Zatanna is a vegetarian, fun fact. Okay, don't even know about the Infinite Crisis game, but okay, now let's check the current powers and abilities. Anything new here? Got magical awareness, the backward speak. She knows black magic. During her tutelage with Nick Necro, she, along with John Constantine, was taught black magic by the renowned mage, a form of magic known for having a high cost to its practitioners. When she was a child, Zatanna used her dark magic to resurrect a dead rabbit, although this would have caused her a great pain if her father had not redirected the pain to himself. Atmokinesis. Zatanna is able to utilize her backward spells to manipulate the weather. She once changed rain into falling petals and changed the day cycle in Gotham from night to day, which is completely undid shortly afterwards. Chronokinesis, dimensional travel, disintegration. Zatanna used her magic to completely disintegrate objects. She was able to make a Batwing suit disintegrate by saying "Edopixie" or explode backwards. Elemental control, electro blast. Sinapho Ignithigil. Lightning off hands. I mean, I love the idea of, like, that's the coolest part of Zatanna. That was like the most creative thing to do. Then with, like, someone like, like a magic user, it's like her spell, and it's not really done with any other character since Zatanna. Is that maybe her father, but beyond maybe those two, that's completely a unique thing that's only meant for her, and thank God no other character creator since then has made a backward speak kind of character. That's completely unique to Zatanna. That's how awesome it is. That was like a very creative thing. I would never in a million years would have came up with that. Flight, force field, gravikinesis, healing. Again, Zatanna can completely heal a person of their physical injuries. She healed Batwoman after a traumatic fight with her, Azrael by simply saying Leia or feel, visibility, molecular reconstruction, telekinesis, teleportation, she can drive, occultism, escapologists, obviously. If you ever watched the Batman animated series, you get to meet Zatanna, and Batman learned his escapology from her father. At least that iteration. Meditation, lockpicking, prestidigitation, sleight of hand. Yeah, and the biggest weakness is logomancy, speech dependency. That is her primary use to cast spells. She it's more so than any wand or because unlike Dr. Fate or Dr. Strange, where they can just wave their hands half the time, or because Dr. Strange, he speaks his magic too, but it's he doesn't do backward speech, and he's neither one of them are encumbered by getting their mouths bound. They can easily weave magic at a whim with their hands. And the Ruby of Life, that's another equipment. What that do? It just looks like it helped her father with bring things, inanimate objects to life. So yeah, that is Zatanna so far. So what about Scarlet Witch? Okay, let's a quote from Doctor Strange. Can you understand the delicate mindset of a woman, a person, who has control over reality? It means reality controls her. Imagination becomes the enemy. Structure disappears. Reality, eventually, as she knows it, starts to slip away, elude her, blur, drama, conflict, tragedy. They become excuses to change the world to fit the image that she has for it. Anything she doesn't like, she can change. No matter how slight, people, places, things, everything is hers to change. But every time she does that, every time she gives in to her desires, no matter how noble they may be, a little more of her slips away. She loses herself, her reason. And her powers, as cool as they are and crazy powerful she is, that kind of thing is dangerous. Okay, Wanda Maximoff, also known as the Scarlet Witch, is a Romani transient sorceress and twin sister of the speedster Quicksilver. Once believed to have been mutant children of Magneto, twins are in truth orphans enhanced by the High Evolutionary at Mount Wundagore, which you get a hint at the end of WandaVision. The Scarlet Witch became a conduit of chaos magic, allowing her to shift probabilities and warp reality itself in the form of hexes. After being saved from an angry mob by Magneto, the Scarlet Witch and her brother joined the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants to fight for Magneto's mutant supremacy cause. Disagreeing with Magneto's ruthless approach, the twins left him and joined the superheroic Avengers instead. The Scarlet Witch was trained by Agatha Harkness. It was Agatha all along. In order to explore her naturally powerful magical abilities. She also had in the Demon Lord of Chaos, Sir Thorn, as an arch nemesis. As an Avenger, Maximoff fell in love with and married her synthesoid teammate, the Vision. In order to form a family with her artificial husband, she used her abilities to create two twin boys. But the spell was later broken, erasing the boys from existence. A tragedy that was accompanied by her husband being dismantled. The trauma of losing her family made her mentally vulnerable, After she attacked the Avengers twice, the group disassembled. Subsequently, in a major display of her powers, the Scarlet Witch reshaped reality, making mutants the dominant life form on Earth, ruling as the House of M. Based on Magneto's wishes, as the Avengers and the X-Men battled to restore reality, she uttered the words, "No more mutants," wiping out the super abilities of most mutants in retaliation of Magneto's extremism. This action became known as the mutant decimation. For years after a long recovery by rejoining the Avengers, the Scarlet Witch has been haunted by her actions in a journey for redemption. More recently, she found herself dealing with the threat of Chthon once again by getting into contact with his book, The Darkhold. Moreover, when secretly attending the Hellfire Gala, a mutant fashion event, the Scarlet Witch was mysteriously assassinated, which led to a more puzzling investigation. But that's been resolved recently, so don't worry about that. So yeah. Yes, for a long time she was joining the Avengers. She every once in a while helped out the X-Men as well. But it was like a touchy thing for such a long time about like, is she's Magneto's daughter, or is she adopted, or like, is he really a mutant? No, like, just cut to the doggone chase. And it's like, because I think long-time comic book fans eventually kind of resolved to the notion like, yeah, it's easier to say to people who are not that familiar than, yeah, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are Magneto's children. They are mutants, point blank period. That is it. You don't need to overcomplicate it with the higher evolutionary and blah 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 and all the other stuff. No, she has a mutant ability to use chaos magic. He has super speed. That's it. She got into hooked up with a robot, and it's like, I made a joke a long time ago during the WandaVision. It's like, so she basically turned Vision into a glorified sex robot, because can you imagine those two having sex? I mean, like, she's just like a very advanced vibrator for her. Yeah, the House of M event was like I only think I read that once. Don't know if I ever thoroughly enjoyed it. Maybe after a reread, and maybe I could do like there's tons of X-Men stuff that I want to cover for like a comic book review, but I kind of want to do like certain key points, not like totally all over the place. Like the first assembly of the X-Men, I have to do that first. Then of course like certain things like House of M, and then eventually I want to get into what led into the current status quo of the X-Men, which I thoroughly love, is doing like a bang up job right now for at least a couple of years now since the event, with like House of X and Powers of 10, or Hox and Pox, because that it's just brilliantly done, and I do not want to do that right away. I want to cover like other cool X-Men stuff, at least the biggies first in order, so we go into like what's currently going on with the X-Men. Every other stuff I can do in and out here and there with it, but yeah. And then she is like, this obviously covering in like the WandaVision, is obviously covering in Doctor Strange 2, that like her obviously breakdown of what transpired with like losing Vision and like her children and everything like that. It's just like she's gone through a lot of trial and tribulation, and like in recent events in the comics with like the X-Men and stuff like that, she everybody come to terms pretty much with like, you know, and resolve the issue with like the, you know, the House of M event, and finally concluded like she has earned her redemption. And it's like, like pretty much like long since forgiven kind of situation. But man, that lasted a mighty long time for like that was like her scarlet letter, no pun intended. Like Avengers versus X-Men, she obviously took on the X-Men, or at least because she fought for the Avengers, but that was like probably like a tough thing to do, considering she, you know, for the longest time worked with the Avengers. Fought during the events of the Secret Empire, which is the most horrific comic book event that ever. I didn't, you know, fully like get too far into it because it's so bad. Honestly, it's like God just gave up. It was like a few issues in. It's like that was a horrid event. And it could have done something with it, but man, they like, I don't know what they did. They dropped the ball immediately. It was handled poorly, very poorly. Oh yeah, and the Dark World event. The Dark World is like a little small event, just with her, Blade, Iron Man, Wasp, Black Bolt, and Spider-Man, and Doctor Doom. And that one's actually pretty fun, and it's kind of like, it kind of reminded me of like the little thing they did with in DC with like the if you ever read the DC's Dark Knight's Metal, where like all these evil versions of Batman from different multiverses trying to conquer the multiverse, and you see like certain like issues, or read certain issues of like their story in these different dark realities. They kind of do the same thing here, where you see like a dark reality with Iron Man and Blade and so on, and it's like, I kind of want more of this. I was like, what is like the dark multiverse universe with like a different like Marvel character, like, you know, Captain America, or you know, like, you know, like Vision, or you know, it's like, it's very curious. It's like a cool idea. And it's just like short issues, just one and done kind of thing, and that's what you need. You don't need like a whole, you know, make a whole thing out of it. Just like a little short one issue, one and done issue. Just like, you know, beginning, middle, and end. That's it. What's her powers? Okay, one of Maximoff is an immensely powerful being, capable of altering reality, probability, and magic within the cosmos to her very whim. She has been stated to be the most dangerous Avenger on various occasions, as well as being stated to have the power of a god. During Avengers vs. X-Men event, excuse me, she was the enemy that the almost omnipotent Phoenix 5 most feared. She has witchcraft. Maximoff is a human of magical birthright, which means she possesses the ability to manipulate magic since the very beginning. She was born a human with the affinity to control magic, allowing her to use the witchcraft she was born with, and the powers were never gave to her by the High Evolutionary, as it was believed. Rather, he had altered her so Wanda is more receptive to magical energy. She was chosen to be one of the candidates as the next Sorcerer Supreme. She has chaos magic. Wanda's main power is the superhuman ability to manipulate the powerful magic known as chaos magic, a dark magic, which allows her to alter reality and control various forms of mystical energy. Wanda received the blessing/curse of the old god of chaos, Zatanna, who came to her the day she was born. Which would allow her to use his chaos magic as her own, and this will increase Wanda's natural ability to magic. Divine sources. Wanda Maximoff can tap and channel energies from other dimensions, as well as mystical and non-mystical entities other than Zatanna, such as Cyttorak. If you know about the Crimson Bands of Cyttorak, or is a guy that pretty much is responsible of giving a portion of his power to the Juggernaut, and we all know how powerful the Juggernaut is. And Morgan, she's actually considered the very nexus being of the central universe of Earth 616. Since Wanda is a nexus being, she acts as a living focal point for Earth's and her universe's mystical energies, making her much more capable to harness and use various kinds of magic as she desires. Spells and phrases. Scarlet Witch has a vast knowledge of mystical spells and incantations, invoking names and aspects of various extra-dimensional objects, beings, and sources of power. Although she has known the ability to cast spells by only saying or focusing on what she wants to happen, this could be related to the nature of her powers. She was trained by Agatha Harkness, who taught her how to control and utilize her magic for many mystical purposes, such as astral projection, binding, biological manipulation, which is her sorcery allows her to manipulate life on a cellular level, as well as control all aspects of living creatures' biological makeup. For instance, she can heal different kinds of injuries and wounds. She once tries to age Jennifer's gamma radioactivity until it's inert. She also has linked the Hulk and a bunch of other Hulks, allowing Banner to merge with them. Excuse me. Bond manipulation. Not James Bond manipulation, just Bond manipulation. Can manipulate and induce bond of others. She is able to strengthen the bond between the Blood Wraith and Slorina itself to its boundaries as well as its people, trapping the Blood Wraith within the country. Chaos manipulation. Wanda Maximoff has the ability to control chaos and manipulate chaotic forces like she did against the In-Betweener, restoring him to a whole being after he tapped her powers. Clairvoyance, energy constructs, energy manipulation, energy absorption, energy projection, energy transferal, flight, force field, gravity manipulation, illusion casting, location tracking, magical awareness, mechanical manipulation. She can manipulate and control machines as well as mechanical objects, like causing them to freeze up. Nature manipulation, elemental manipulation, weather control, necromancy, non-physical interaction. Wanda Maximoff has the power that allows her to affect and harm intangible beings such as ghosts, intangible demons, spirits, and vision. Portal creation, power resistance. She has resistance to certain attacks, abilities, and powers that can affect and harm her. She is resistant to various types of magic and energy, She also has resistance against reality warping, probability manipulation, elemental forces, and even the Phoenix Force to its limited degree. Protection spell. Wanda can cast the spell of protection so that she and her teammates can be protected against certain danger. She has cast protection hex to herself, Thor, and Odin to keep them safe from knee-deep acid. Purification. And during her time as a mystic, Maximoff has demonstrated the ability to purify any kind of objects. She has magically purified a lake and thrown a demon who at the time possessed 2 people in it to protect the victims. She used spell in this case. Reality manipulation, of course. One of the most well-known powers that Wanda has is her ability to shape, warp, defy, and bend reality itself. She has been stated as one of the most greatest and most dangerous reality warpers. She can use the ability to create anything and everything from nothing. It can disintegrate as well as erase people or objects from existence. She can also combine her physical combat with her reality warping power, as she did against Hope Summers. Replication, can multiply herself and others. Scanning, scrying, soul manipulation, superpower manipulation. She can manipulate superpowers of others by various means. Her magic allows her to control, absorb, or steal and boost or enhance any kind of superpowers that her targets have. Her magic also allows her to cancel, block, or negate the effect of her enemy's powers, and reflect or redirect any power that is projected against Wanda herself. Telekinesis, telepathy, emotion manipulation, teleportation, time manipulation, transmutation, witch sight, probability manipulation. Her powers, while beginning to unveil a higher potential, appear capable of prevailing against the master mystical power of Dormammu in his own dark dimension when she and the Avengers fought against him for Avalon's evil eye, albeit indirectly by disrupting the energies of Dormammu and the eye. She has trained often at using her hexes to deflect projectiles or to cause enemies to stumble or otherwise suffer the effects of bad luck. This makes her one of the few Avengers that Ultron fears, as his adamantium shell cannot repel magic. Wanda can also project very powerful blasts, orbs, waves, and beams of hex energy for a different purpose, such as to destroy or hit objects or people with great force, illuminate an area, etc., as well as generate energy constructs such as force fields or screens of hex energy. Other abilities include avian intuition, being able to pilot an aircraft, dancing, expert combatant. Scarlet Witch has been trained in hand-to-hand combat by Captain America, Hawkeye, and Mockingbird. Expert tactician and leadership, horse riding, meditation and yoga, multilingual, fluent like English, French, and German, some knowledge of Greek and Slovenian. However, in the case of the latter, she admits to being more comfortable speaking English. It's possible that she knows other languages as well. For example, she was born and raised in Serbia. It's likely that she knows Serbian, and since her foster parents were members of the Romani community, she may know one or more dialects of Romani as well. Her brother speaks fluent Russian and seems surprised that the other Avengers don't, suggesting that Wanda may also speak it. Occultism and magical knowledge, swimming, and she got fair strength as a woman for her build. Other equipment, she has a crystal ball, and the Darkhold, which is combined to her body. She used to have a weakness when it came to her mental illness, but that has since been resolved. So, who do I think will win in a fight between Wanda and Zatanna? See, there's a couple things that stuck out for me. One, Zatanna highly relies on her being able to speak, because she can fight as long as she's not totally bound, but that severely, dwindles her capabilities in a fight. Well, especially when like a fight went against another magic user, more specifically. I mean, not that she can go toe to toe with like Deathstroke or anything like that, but when he if somebody bounds her mouth, or she can at least still fight. But if she's bound, or like Deathstroke, punch her in the liver and cause her to keel over, she's pretty much incapacitated off the freaking bat. But beyond that, thing is even though this whole that anti thing, that being able to repel her pain onto others, that is a big tool in her toolbox. I don't know if that will do well, do that much against Wanda, because aside from the chaos magic and reality warping, which Zatanna cannot do on this, I don't think at all, if she, as far as because they both know they're for a bit of black magic, but Wanda managed to utilize it in a way, especially with the Darkhold bind to her. She doesn't have the side effects that it caused a person using black magic, like Zatanna would experience, or anybody. It's magic does have a cost, but with the with her divine connection and being a focal point to Earth 616 universe, and the Darkhold combined with her, she can use all kinds of magic, with that without much drawbacks. Then you have something like shoot, what was that thing I saw? The necromancy, Zatanna doesn't use necromancy. Wanda can actually attack any kind of spiritual, intangible things that Zatanna might utilize in some kind of arsenal, send ghosts through her magical hat or something like that. But Wanda can easily just whap those things away, or purify any kind of cursed or demonic thing that Zatanna might utilize in her arsenal. And the bad luck, causality that can hinder Zatanna in a big way. That's another thing. Yeah, she fought they both fought big demonic entities, and Zatanna, although fought magical entities that were there since the creation, or at least part of the creation of magic itself in her universe, while Wanda did deal with Dormammu, he wasn't the creator of magic. I mean, that's like a point for, Zatanna, Zatanna's part, but is just like, it's like, Wanda seems to have more, it has more in her favor. Oh, superpower manipulation. Yeah, she can, with that superpower manipulation, Zatanna can't do that. I don't think she has anything to protect herself. Cause I think Wanda has more stuff to protect herself from other individuals who might even send. There was like a moment where I read where it's like, she could protect herself from stuff that's even like, because Zatanna has like a thing where, like an energy blast being directed at her from an enemy, she can, without losing momentum, can send that back. But Wanda, can easily, just obviously, poof that away. I think her healing's a more magical ability to heal is a little bit more superior to Zatanna, because the thing is, Zatanna has to speak her magic. Yeah, the reality warping and the power resistance. She can resist to certain attacks and abilities that would harm her in various, and she's resistant to various types of magic and energy, including reality warping and probability manipulation and elemental forces. I think, I don't think Zatanna has probability manipulation, but she has elemental forces just like Wanda, but Wanda can negate that. So I am resigned to believe that Scarlet Witch will beat Zatanna. As great as Zatanna is, she like her arsenal, like they're fairly have the same kind of arsenal, but like the few things that I read with Wanda shows that she has a little bit more. And Zatanna's drawback is the ability to speak, and whatever dark magic she knows, she rarely uses because of the cost it would negative feedback. Wanda doesn't have to worry about the negative feedback being combined with the Darkhold, so she can use all kinds of magic without the drawbacks. So yeah, that's Scarlet Witch would beat Zatanna probably fairly easily, all things considered. That like I said, Wanda doesn't really need to speak her magic. She can just do whatever. I mean, but I'm curious to know what you guys think, given the stuff that I brought up. Like, do you think I'm wrong, or do you agree? But smash that like button, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time for another versus discussion. And take care guys.